Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. Thanks so much for being here today. Hope that you're doing great wherever you are in this world. I know that you're in 150 countries watching at all different times of the day and night, and so I just want to welcome you all here. It's wonderful to have your company. So I'm starting my day as I always do with a cup of tea. I've gone with my very simple green tea. It's jazz. I think it's a pure green tea. It's for Twinings, and I just really enjoy starting the day with something that's good for me. And so Twinings tea is very good. It's a memory from my childhood, but it's also green tea, which is super good for you. So it claims to be super good for you. But anyway, I hope that you've got something, you're drinking something nice that you like, tea, coffee, juice, whatever you prefer. But I want you to settle back and relax because I've got a topic today that has a kind of a personal connection to me and also to one of our bloggers who just wrote the most amazing story about something that I think will resonate with most of you. Now, before I start, though, I just want to mention that you see us here on YouTube and Facebook, but I wanted to remind you that we have a lot of other channels on 60andMe that you may not know about. If you go to the website and you go 60andme.com/start, it will tell you all about the different things we do, some of the products, our yoga videos, and other things we have, and also just let you know what other channels we're on, because all the content that we provide is free of charge for you, and we love you to go out and explore it and get the most out of it, not just one dimension. So that's important, to go out to the website every day and check it out, and there's always something new there for you. And also, of course, our Patreon channel, which is for those women who can afford to support us a little bit on 60andMe. We just treasure you and value anyone who can help us that way. That's patreon.com, 60andMe. So those are some housekeeping things out of the way that I wanted to make sure I told you about. But I want now to share a story. Now, Ann Crowther is one of our bloggers, and she wrote a story about what she called affectionately the good old days. And as I was reading it, I pretty much had to stop for a minute and have a cry because it was so powerful. And not just so much powerful because of the topic, but because it was like my life, completely the same, Anne. And I actually even wrote to her to tell her that because her story was so similar to mine. But she said, this is what she said. Her mother never made it to 60. She died 2 weeks before her 59th birthday. My mom was 50 when she died, me personally. She said at age 21, she viewed her mom as an old lady. I was about 19 and same thing. She was old. You know, she didn't dye her hair. This is both of our moms, didn't dye their hair. They didn't wear makeup. They wore sensible shoes. I guess we'd call frumpy clothes, the clothes that they wore. They were comfortable and, not particularly fashionable. And they didn't travel a lot. My mom never had a driver's license. They didn't know what the internet was. They didn't have a cell phone. All these things that we remember our moms. And I think I really agreed with Anne that, in my mind, my mother was old. And of course I was young and I hadn't really figured everything out yet. Not that I've still figured it out today, but at that time, we have a stereotype about what an older woman is. So our parents, my mom and Anne's, lived through austere times. Makeup was scarce. My mom told me when, during the war, girls would just go crazy for a tube of lipstick and they would hold on to it with their lives. They just couldn't get good makeup, and lipstick became a kind of something they had to have to feel good about themselves. Nylons weren't existent. They didn't have tights. They just had to, sometimes women painted a little line with gravy on the back of their legs, and this is in the UK, so that they looked like they had nylon stockings on. Because you remember nylon stockings used to have a seam down the back, and they were kind of straight up the back, which made your legs look long and slender. So many little things that we forget. Makeup today is no longer a luxury. We can get tights in every single color under the sun, every pattern under the sun. Times have really, really changed. In the olden days, in quotes, when our parents were alive, my mom was alive, clothes were not disposable. You bought something and you wore it for 30 years, and you maybe changed the blouse or you changed something that wore out, but the suits and pants and jackets were pretty much a lifelong investment. So today, you go into the shops and buy clothes with the full knowledge that you're going to wear them 10 times and probably throw them away. We are in a disposable culture. Anne says that her daughter now, her 27-year-old daughter, and her wear the same clothes. They trade clothes. And, I would never have done that with my mom. Well, it just never would have occurred to me. But now the generations are working together, talking and playing and living together. I think my mom had like 2 pairs of shoes, and Anne says her mom had 5. Now, I have probably 5 myself, but Anne has, I think she says she has 200 pairs of shoes. She says, don't judge me. I have 200 pairs of shoes. And who's to judge? She, she wears one with every outfit. My mom wore hers, one in the winter, one in the summer. That was her wardrobe of clothes. Leisure's changed too. I mean, we travel now, like we just don't even think about it, jumping on a plane or jumping on a train or bus. We just go where we want to go. And her mom, and mine didn't do that. We just didn't have that travel budget or opportunity. Also, just activities. I mean, we have every kind of sports activity that you can imagine now that's acceptable for women. That's another whole story. But we can play tennis and go swimming, and we can enter Olympic sports, racing, competitive sports. We can do marathons and triathlons. Everything's possible. Our parents maybe would go to a bingo entertainment evening, or they'd maybe have a keep fit class that they could go to. But that was the extent of what they could experience. I'm sure there were other exceptions, with maybe go to an art class or something that was of particular interest to them. But they certainly didn't have the access to the scope of entertainment that we do today. My mom, and Anne's as well, never learned to drive. I've got a picture of my mom standing by a car, but I don't think she, in a million years, would ever want to learn to drive. And she really never went anywhere. I mean, we didn't have much money to travel big distances, but even short distances, my mom stayed at home. That was in her mind, her job, and the same with Anne. Anne says that she moved around a lot. I think her father was in the service, and so did I. We both moved frequently as children, and that gave us. Well, I guess it gave us strength of character and the ability to mix with new people, but also that sense of, depth of relationships. I think I have one friend from my childhood, and in fact, it wasn't my childhood. Mary's my friend from teenage years. I don't have a single friend that I have from childhood. And, but the thing is, that's how it wasn't in those days. We moved around and didn't have as many roots, perhaps. My mom never had an opportunity for a career, as did Anne's. So I think she did some cleaning or some restaurant work later on in her life, but I don't remember that too much. And she never had a career. Not that retail's not a job, it certainly is a career, but she didn't have a chance to become a nurse or a doctor or something, an accountant. She probably would have been great at all those things because she was super smart and super kind and a wonderful woman. But she had no financial independence. She was totally dependent on my dad. And given his situation and his own life issues, that didn't work out real well for her. She didn't go to college. In terms of household, I mean, my mom never owned a property or owned a car. She washed clothes by hand, as did Anne's. And Anne describes, this whole concept of ironing, which I'm laughing because I do iron occasionally, but our moms used to have to iron clothes and hang them on hangers, and that was kind of part of their responsibility. Now, by the way, guys, I'm generalizing here. I'm sure a lot of you had different experiences, but this is just mine and Anne's, and so I'm just sharing just food for thought. Food was always home cooked. I don't think I ever had a meal that wasn't made by my mother. This is, before she passed away. She would cook, a shepherd's pie and, stew and dumplings. And at Christmas, we'd have all the Christmas mince pies and other cool things. But she had to wash all her dishes by hand. No dishwashers in those days. And, times were just different. Now, my mom was always there when I got home from school. She was always, there for me, even though, of course, I was quite young and didn't appreciate it at that time. But I had a happy and carefree childhood. We lived up in Northern Ontario in Canada for some of it, and I remember those times with really good memories. There were other times that weren't so happy. But we had very little television. As I said, we didn't have cell phones. She let us go out in the morning at 9 o'clock in the morning and just know we were going to turn up at 5 when it started to get dark. Just, I don't know what went on in her mind though. I don't know whether she worried or whether she wanted to know more about where we were, but she just, I guess, just didn't have the way to worry. She had to trust us. And, we had little holidays sometimes by the sea, or we'd go for a drive in the car to somewhere that we knew. And that was our holiday. I don't remember taking any holidays as a child. And I think that Anne had the same experience. She said that, she would go, I think she said she would build sandcastles and remembers eating ice cream. Those are the joys of our life when we were younger. So now we can go to Greece for a holiday with our kids and show them they can eat calamari and Greek salad and write about it, tell about it in their school class. And that's how we raised our kids, or many of us did. So computers and the internet, that's changed our life, hasn't it? And we didn't have, we didn't have any access to this world of information. I can't believe now sometimes when I have a question, like it was so funny the other week. I was in the doctor's office and she said, I had to register with a new doctor, and she said, "What's your weight?" And I said, and I told her in pounds, and she went, "Oh, in kilograms?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know." So I picked up my phone and I just went to Siri on my iPhone and I said, "What are X number of pounds in kilograms?" That would be, and she just gave us the answer. And even the doctor was a bit like, that was cool. But that's kind of how it is for us these days. We can get information so fast. And, and these technology devices have helped us with having a better life, easier life. And I still don't have a dishwasher, believe it or not, but, it's for people who want these things. They're there to help them live a happier and less stressed and time to do other things. And certainly technology is helping with medicine and health and, lots of educational opportunities for our grandchildren and for us. We know we have access to so much more. So I guess the question is, was it the good old days? Were they really the good old days? I don't know. I've gone over today, been tripping down memory lane here, but I'd love to know what you think. Do you think that life now is better than it was in the 50s and 60s? Do you miss the old days? Leave your comments in the section below. I'd love to read your comments and just tell us if you think that life is better now than it was when you were in the 50s and 60s, and sort of what you maybe miss about the old days. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for all your attention and time. I really appreciate it. I look forward to speaking with you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.